Flex, the livest one in the section. Fit the runner, boy, you nigga, no question. You a runner, motherfucker, high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker, never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga, woof. I'm a 88 pack nigga, woof. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker, change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood, trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Yeah, buddy. Like, wait. It's time to bleed. I'm having a wonderful day. I'm having a wonderful evening. Man, it's always good, man. It's always good when you got family looking out for you. Blood and non-blood. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell y'all before, this is therapeutic to talk this boxing talk. You know what I'm saying? With people of like mind. I got my brother Bruce Goals in the building. Salute, Bruce.
Salute, man. Thank you for having me on, Drew. Appreciate it so much. Stormy being there, my brother. Salute to you.
Stormy in the building. Salute, Sensei.
Salute, man. Drew and Bruce in the chat. I appreciate being back again. I'm highly motivated right now. I had a tremendous conversation this morning on my show. I don't know if you guys caught it. If you didn't, shame on you. Dr. Mark Stearns called in this morning. Turns out that he's a local here, you know, a Chicagoan. And he paid one of the highest compliments to me, man. It just kind of like it put me in a different place. And we're supposed to be connecting in the near future because he understands, you know, my message, the whole thing on the mental aspect of positivity and everything. So we're going to get together because he's got some plans locally here and wants me to be a part of some things. So I was very impressed with that and am considering, you know, assisting to the best of my abilities.
Man, you know, I'm so like happy to hear news like that because that's what this whole thing is about. Isn't it a lot more refreshing to build relationships rather than trying to bust them down and break them
Yeah, and
up?
you know what? The funny turnaround, Drew, is this. You know the conversation I was having with you in 78 yesterday.
Yeah.
You know? And I was talking about, you know, doing something a little different, and you guys were like, no, you know, and then today I get this gentleman calling me. You see
what I'm saying?
And he said he had been listening to me and admiring what I'm doing for a long time. I mean, you can go back and hear it yourself this morning. He was my first call. He was my first call. And the things that he said just put me in a different place altogether.
You see what I'm saying? Where else? All the relationships that we're building. Where else would I have met you all the way in Chicago and Bruce Goes? Where else would I have met you guys? And every time I hear you guys talk boxing, I learn something. These are relationships that we built. I mean, when we had Vinny Paz on here, I said, you know what, let me reach out to Bruce Goes. Turns out him and Vinny got so much in common. They're from the same area. You understand? And it just jumped in my head. I said, you know what? I'm gonna add Bruce to the show tonight. You dig what I'm saying? Where else would I have met Bruce? Where else? I'm looking at the chat and salute to everyone in the chat. You know what I'm saying? But this is what this is about. This is what this is about. We're from all walks of life, all races, cultures, creeds. And contrary to popular belief, I don't give a fuck about who you lay down with. That's none of my business. I'm about boxing. And I'm about building people up. That's what my other channel is. It's about focusing on human nature. I believe it's human nature to build. But every now and again, you get people that try and tear down to bring themselves up. And that is a reckless mind. I'm about to go off on a little cartoon tangent, but try and feel me on this. I know you guys are a little older than me, right? But I'm sure some cats in it. George, I see you in the chat. There's some cats in here that's gonna be able to identify exactly what I'm saying. Dragon Ball is all the rave right now, right? I'm a nerd. I've watched it. I've seen everything. All right. There's a character called Majin Buu. All right. And in that saga, there was a point where he powered up so much that he turned into a kid. And I'm looking at it like, why the fuck would they make him a kid? And you know what they said in the cartoon? They said nothing is more ruthless than a child. You ever brought a child around a bunch of adults and you have that one handicapped adult and the child says, hey man, why can't you walk? You're like, shut up. You know what I'm saying? But kids don't know any better. Kids don't know any better. Which is why I tell family, always take the fucking high road. Always take the high road. I'm giving you a gem right now. I'm actually talking to someone specific. Because I'm a grown man. And I don't play games. Son, I don't play games. This is your final warning. Leave me the fuck alone. I ain't gonna say it no more. You have been found. You fucked up today. And that's why I'm smiling. You fucked up really bad. Real bad. Close to home. Close to home. Stop playing with me, kid. You got a lot of youth in you. You're not even 25 years old, if that. Okay? You don't know what chaos is, Captain. This is boxing. This is all I want to do is talk that. Respect your elders, young man. Now. You see,
I think
the world is big, but it's
drowning.
small. The world is big, but it's small. That's why my brother Bruce, he had to go spark one. Because there's smoke. I got all the smoke. You can't break what you didn't build. If you want to do your little bullshit content, good luck with it. Trying to come up on our name ain't gonna work out for you. I give you gems every morning. If people like, trust, and respect you, they're gonna fucks with you. If they like, trust, and respect you, it don't matter what you do. You got a lot of content creators that got a lot of shit with them. And it hasn't affected their views or their paycheck. Trust me, I know. No one likes you, no one trusts you, no one respects you, and you're a little too young to make me an enemy. I'm not here for that. Don't do it. It's your final warning. Okay? And I ain't talking about putting mitts on you and nothing like that. That's easy. I'm talking about getting phone calls from legal teams. You dig? Stop playing, young man. No doubt, George. I got you, brother. And be careful out there. So anyway, good evening. Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. We're in growth exponentially, which is why y'all can't stand us. But we here. It ain't shit you can do about it. Salute to all the family. Salute to all the friends of the family. We here. Now let's talk some boxing. Mark Stearns, I see you, brother. Picasso, I see the family. I just need to get that off. Oh, let me say this. I was accused of being homophobic. Listen very carefully. I'm from the Bronx. If I call you the F word, it's because I'm upset with you. I really don't know who you sleeping with. I don't care. If I call you the F word, the next step is throwing hands. Racist? Prove it. Prove it. You can't. Don't ever question me. Don't ever question my integrity. Not when you ain't even done living your life. You just began. Now watch this. I'm a racist. But if I call you a bitch ass nigga, that make me racist? You bitch nigga? Huh? Does that make me a racist? When I'm chewing out all these black athletes for doing dumb shit, that make me racist? But as soon as I get to your ethnicity, it's a problem. Listen, all I can do is remain consistent because this is boxing. Drew, are you racist? No, I hate everybody equally. Okay, so now let's talk some boxing. I'm sorry, fellas, I just had to get that off. I gotta let these youngins know. I'm a grown-ass man. So now, last night was an exceptionally good night for boxing. It was exceptionally good. There's 3 fights I want to hone in particular. If anything else y'all want to talk about, we could talk about it. But there's 3 fights I want to hone in particular. Let's start with Robson Conceicao. I want to start with that. The reason why I want to start with that is because if y'all don't know, if y'all forgot the name, that's the guy that was robbed against Oscar Valdez or Oscar Valdez. Here I go. I'm talking about a non-black fighter. Here I go. Oscar Valdez, who popped dirty against Conceicao. A and B samples still allowed to fight because Mauricio Suleiman said that the A and B samples and what fentanyl found, the amount of fentanyl found in his system was equivalent to 4 Red Bulls. And yeah, they said, yeah, we're gonna have a fight. He can go ahead and fight. And you remember when we went crazy, but when we go crazy, we're just crazy. But when old media goes crazy, now it's worth listening to. Clenbuterol. What did Tim Bradley call it? Babuterol, phentermine, and all this other stuff. No one cares as long as it's your favorite fighter, or if he lives up the street from you, or he speaks the same language as you. It's all good. But we hold everyone equally accountable over here. So Oscar Valdez beats Robson Conceicao, the Brazilian. He recently said in an article that Valdez should have been suspended for a year. I agree. He fought last night, and he says he wants to run it back with Valdez. And I'd love to see that. Bruce Goes, your thoughts on his fight last night and what he says about Oscar Valdez?
Well, you know, I only saw the highlights from the fight because once again they did it to us. They put the Don King and the Bob Arum fight head-to-head, main event to main event. I had Don King on the big screen. I had Bob Arum on the small screen. So I was paying more attention to the heavyweights. And I saw Conceicao. He won the fight. He outboxed Martinez. He looked great. I mean, I can't elaborate on it because, like I said, bro, they did it to us again, man. You know.
Yep.
I mean, I even bopped to the Royal Rumble, and they had 45,000 screaming people in St. Louis. And then I went back to the Don King card in Cleveland, man. And I'm listening to Ray Boom Boom Mancini, man. Oh, a Hall of Fame announcer in the future, I'm sure, brother.
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Hook and pull him out of there. But it's crazy why they do this to us, man. You know, even WWE realized he was going to go against the football playoffs today, so he put it on a Saturday night. He said, "Hey, boxing fans, they're nothing, man." And you know, that's my only gripe about the night because I can't comment on that fight. I have to watch it. Period. I saw the highlights. I know the ending. It was a nondescript evening for boxing from where I sat, bro.
Yeah, that was a throwback situation. That brought me back to the time where you remember they used to air it on ABC and NBC. You have to run from room to room. If you was lucky enough to have 2 TVs in your house at that time in the 80s, and you have to
Yeah.
like, oh my God, remember you have to turn the channel. What's
But,
happening in
but,
this
but,
round?
but even then, they were kind of in sync with each other, where one would be on at maybe 3 o'clock, and then the other one would be on at 4:30. So we could see them. Last night they just shot, but it was 10 paces turning fire, and I was in the middle,
Fair enough. Well, it was a wash. I had a Conceicao a landslide. There was no doubt that he won that fight. Do you think Oscar Valdez owes him a rematch? Granted the conditions.
Well, go ahead, Stormy.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Stormy. What do you think? What do you think, Stormy, on that? You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think that Valdez definitely owes him a rematch because the fight was fought under auspicious circumstances. The thing is that we found out in the aftermath, and see, that's one of the things that we should always hold tight and fast to is when the facts come out. It looks like now the WBC, the Valdez camp, and Valdez's hometown had a stake of interest invested in him, and it behooved the story that was going to play out that he come out victorious. And therefore you had to understand that the judges in the fight had to follow suit. And as long as Valdez finished on his feet and met the final bell, he was going to get the victory. As long as he remained upright and met the final bell. Turns out that a few days after the championship fight, his hometown had a statue ceremony for him. And of course, it would not have looked very good, and it wouldn't have been good press for him to have lost the title and everything, and then they go through with the ceremonies. Huh? I mean, this is real life and not a movie. They could have still had the ceremony, because whatever they were giving him this ceremony for, with dedicating a statue for him, that's between him and his hometown and everything. But the business of boxing had no business interfering with the circumstances of how the fight would turn out. And that's where we again have to hold the sport of boxing accountable for corruption. And let's not forget, before entering the bout, he popped dirty for a banned substance.
Yes. Yep.
And that right there, the title should not have been on the line. Yeah, you can still fight the fight as long as Conceicao was going to go through with it with you, but you should not have been defending a title. It should not have been for a championship. So that's the thing, all wrapped up in a nice little bow. And does this man deserve a second opportunity against that man who's holding that belt? Absolutely. He actually deserves a chance at the title, whether the man is holding the belt or not. And as he said, he should have been banned and stopped for at least 1 year. All of this smacks completely of the corruption that is headlining the sport every day, even though old media pushes the real facts of the story to the side. But that's why you have us, because we are 24/7, 365 on their asses. And who can refute what we put out?
They can't. They can. Salute to Jamel Triple O in that super chat. Much love and appreciation. He said, I read an article earlier today about how Conceicao beat Loma in the amateurs, but they reversed the decision the day after. Shaking my head. That's crazy. I didn't know that. God damn, that's what they're doing? That's crazy. But this is what we're up against. And my my thoughts on that overall, you already know how I feel about Oscar Valdez. You already know how I feel about everything going on down there. And you know what? I don't give a flying F. I'm trying to keep it clean like a washing machine up in here. But you know what? Nobody talks about this but us. Glove cheats and drug cheats in boxing, hold them all accountable. Hold them all accountable. There's something going on down there.
Sip the juice, I got enough to go around, and the thought takes place uptown.
All of them are suspect.
Sip the juice, I got enough to go around, and the thought takes place uptown.
They got to prove that they're not dirty. They got to prove that they're not dirty. I don't care. I'm on their bumper. Don't care. Hey, man, I'm a former super supporter of Canelo, and then he popped dirty. I'm a supporter of Andy Ruiz, and then he lost all that weight. Legs got all big, and I'm like, what's happening here? And then Oscar Valdez with this nonsense. And then the WBC stands on their square and says, nope, go ahead and fight. Nobody said anything.
Sip the juice, I got enough to go around, and the thought takes place uptown.
I'll bet. I wouldn't let any of my fighters anywhere near them. Get out of here. They're dirt bags until they prove otherwise. I don't trust nothing coming out of there. How about that? And the WBC is on my goddamn radar. From what they're allowing to be done, Canelo, Valdez, franchise status, this is gonna lead me into the next conversation. Makabu won by split decision. I didn't see the fight, but it was a split decision, which means one judge had him losing. Now he's talking about, I'm ready for Canelo. I'm ready for Canelo.
Sip the juice, I got enough to go around, and the thought takes place uptown.
I'll bet he's ready for Canelo. I'm giving the WBC the W business for as long as they're in business. Don't care. This is ridiculous. This is a hurt business as it is. You can die in the ring. And it's a sin and a shame when you got sanctioning bodies that take control over this stuff and says, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let this guy fight. So Makabu won, and he's calling out Canelo. Now Canelo's turning over his shoulder and saying, all right, yeah, Jamal Charles, he's looking pretty good. All of a sudden, hey, look, newsflash. I think that he's looking at Charlo because there's no one else to look at now. There's no one else to look at now. Bruce, your thoughts on the WBC and Makabu winning and just give
me. Bro, the whole show, man. Don King had that denim jacket on. He wore 20 years ago, bro, and it doesn't look like he washed it in 20 years. The freaking thing was frayed. I mean, dude, you know what an old denim jacket looks like. And it looks like he's been wearing it every day for those 20 years. And he the whole card right from the beginning, man. When he had Brian with that fight and Mancini saying this is the best heavyweight championship fight I've seen in years, and I don't know what the kid's name that he fought, some shrimp boater out of Louisiana. I mean, the guy was grossly out of shape, outsized, out everything. But he's ran in a couple of shots, and every time he did, Mancini would say, "He's got him hurt." I mean, dude, and then with the fight we're talking about, the Makabu and Makabu against Makabu, I'm honest. I couldn't pronounce the names, but they didn't like each other. That was for sure. And when the fight was over, Makabu tried to give him a little, congratulations at the end of the fight. Pushed him away. It's almost like he knew he was going to get ripped off. He kind of went in there just to make his check. He knew if it went to the decision, he didn't have a chance. Don King was already in the champion's corner. I mean, it was kind of sad. I think Don King should really, really retire, bro. I mean, he showed his age in this promotion. He had who the hell did he have there? He had Don Elbow. Man, that was the first guy who he co-promoted a fight with the Ali fight in Cleveland at the Children's Hospital. And Don Elbums, he said way back in the 60s that this guy's a ripoff. He's coming into boxing and he's laughing. And he was there last night. It's almost like the full circle game. But it's definitely let him retire. Let Don King go out. He's actually touting Bryant Jennings as a challenge for Fury and for Deontay Wilder. Bro, I mean this man is just too old for this game. Even Bob Arum, both of them going at it last night. It kind of reminded me of the 80s, bro. And there was no fireworks there. It was more like duds all over the place. The WBC, we're the ones who we want to kick ourselves in the ass because the WBC dictates and we follow. They tell us that this fight is okay, and it's okay. We have that. We need a drug czar in this country to okay these fights. Not let the WBC, because people forget Mauricio Sulaiman, his father, Jose Sulaiman. Bro, that's a father to son dictatorship. It's passed down, and yet they set the ratings. They tell us that this fight can happen. That they won't rate fighters who didn't get in their VADA testing. I mean, but we're the ones who back it. Would the NBA fans settle for this? Would Major League Baseball? Nah, nobody. But boxing, we'll take anything they give to us. And the WBC, damn, we can go on all day. The French fries champion, all these silver belts, and mandatories not being fulfilled, and all these fights going out for purse bids and arbitration. It's a shit house out there, man. I don't know how anybody can follow it anymore, man. It's hard enough for people like us that try, that follow all the different websites, and we see what's going on, and we go on Twitter, we go on Facebook, wherever it may be. But damn, for somebody who's just trying to get into boxing now and to try to follow it, Don King says the heavyweight champion was down in Cleveland last night, and damn, that kind of says it all right there, bro. It's a really a messed up state of affairs, and like you said, the WBC and the WBA and the IBF and it's all the same, bro. And we follow it, we pay for it, and we'll see you again next week.
At this point, when do we stop? Because at this point, the belts are devalued based off of the WBC's behavior. And I'm at a point where I've been at this point for a couple of years now. I don't care what a fighter has anymore because it's marketability. I gave the perfect example about a week ago. And I said, okay, if Fury signs to fight Usyk, and AJ decides to step aside, and AJ decides, hey, man, I'm going to fight Deontay. And then Deontay and AJ's fight is on the same Saturday that Usyk is fighting Fury. I asked everybody, I said, which fight are you buying? Gun to your head, who you buying? I'm buying AJ versus Wilder. It is not because I hate Fury, because I hate the guy. It's not because I dislike Usyk. I don't have no malice towards him. I'm just saying, I think there's going to be more fireworks and it's going to be more of an exciting fight with Wilder and AJ. And plus, it's a fight that I wanted to see. So, gun to your head, those fights are happening on a Saturday night. Who are you about? What are you purchasing? As a matter of fact, if they announce Usyk versus Fury first and Wilder versus AJ 2 weeks later, and AJ and Wilder say we're going to fight on the same Saturday, I bet you Usyk or Fury comes up with a goddamn injury because they know they can't compete. Now, there's no belt involved there. And this is where I'm going. These fighters, they have a core fan base, and I believe they'd be doing better marketing themselves, starting their own websites, Screwworks, Screw the Networks, have a pop-up stream, go to an arena, sell it out, sell it all out, cut those right out and keep more money in your, and especially the $1 million sanctioning fees I have for holding an IB belt. Devin Haney right now is the real WBC champion. He's paying sanctioning fees on a belt that was given to him by Lomachenko over the email. Think about that. Oh, you're an email champion. Who the hell belt? The Speed, the Angles from the Ukraine. Gave him the belt. Just get it. I don't want you. And this franchise is getting more praise than the original belt. And Devin Haney's the one getting made fun of. I say everybody throw those belts all in the trash. We got matchups right here in our head that we want to see, pay money for. It has nothing to do with a goddamn belt. Stormy, your thoughts, brother?
Well, I didn't see the Don King card. Didn't want to see it. Those guys over there that's being promoted on his events, they're a bunch of slackers, man. They're a bunch of guys who are underachieving, lower rated guys who don't really add any pizzazz to the weight classes they compete in and everything. But the moment that Don gets a legitimate fighter who has some ability and talent, he's right back in the thick of things. So it's just that right now, he's working with who's working with him, and that's okay. But to a greater point here, when you're talking about Tyson Fury, I got a question, and this is like been eating at me for a minute, and I'm like, why? We know that Dillian White is in line to possibly have a fight with Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury has had a chance to navigate the sport without fighting any tough opposition outside of Deontay Wilder. That was, and that was Wilder giving him an opportunity. But why isn't anyone talking about Joe Joyce fighting Tyson Fury?
Let's talk about that. Why aren't they?
Joe Joyce is the type of fighter that could end Tyson Fury. And it's not that he's such a great heavyweight, but he's the anti-Fury. He is the way he fights, his style, what he is capable of doing, enduring, and outputting. That's right there. More so than Joshua, more so than White, even more so than Wilder. Because Joe Joyce has the type of style that goes back a while. Tyson Fury can't put on extra weight to do anything against him because Joe can carry extra weight as well, but it's not about him having to match that. It's just that he's the physical presence that the heavyweight division really needs. And I don't know if it's his personality or if there's an agenda, because you notice how he's not put in any talks with anyone, and how he can sit in sufferance and silence and not be a part of, wanting to make history. I don't understand that. There's something wrong with that, but there's nothing wrong with putting his hat putting his name in the same hat as Tyson Fury. Nothing.
I agree 110%. Freddie, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Freddie Pendleton, ladies and gentlemen. No diggity doubt, man. We just talking about the events for tonight. But Stormy, I agree. Joe Joyce has proven to be an issue, and there's no reason why his name shouldn't be in the mix.
Well, let me ask you this. Would you rather see Joe Joyce against Tyson Fury than Dillian White?
Absolutely.
There you go.
And guess what? I'm glad you said that, because guess what? Ain't nobody screaming for justice for Dillian White right now. So why not? I asked before, what happened to all the Dillian White fans? 6 million days, 6 trillion days. Ain't looking for him now. Ain't no one saying, yo, man, nah, give him his shot. He was in litigation with the WBC just a second ago. And anyone break down how this alleged step aside money, is it step aside money or not? I heard there was $155 million laying around in Dubai from when Fury was about to fight. That fell through, and they said the money was just sitting there. I don't know how the hell that works, but this is what I'm reading. This is what I read. They said the money was sitting there, so they were going to divide that and in the other remaining balance to White. Now I said, wow, they could have been splitting that 50-50 because White's not worth it, right? So then AJ gets online and says, man, I wasn't offered no step aside money. If you ain't here for me, it didn't happen. Fury, once again, gets online, because we've been here before. He gets online, says they're so stupid for not stepping aside, $90 million step aside. That's a lot of money to step aside. 90 million. So $155 million, 90 million to AJ, right? The remaining balance was supposed to go to Dillian White. Dillian White, maybe that's why he's so quiet, because shit, that's my biggest payday ever for not doing anything, especially if I'm guaranteed one of the winners. Hell yeah, I'm stepping aside. I don't know what the hell's going on. I know not to believe Fury, and I know AJ's a liar. So I don't know what's going on with this thing. But in the midst of all of that, why not? Stormy's absolutely correct. They don't want to check that damn Dillian White. Put Joe Joyce in there. I'm with it. Yo, salute to Robert Singleton in that super chat. Much love. He said, right on the money, Sensei. Joyce can handle Fury size. He could, man. That's a big, strong boy, man. And Stormy made a wonderful point, man. I don't remember if he did it on air or not, but there's a misconception that Joe Joyce is slow and robotic. And Stormy, because he's the sensei, he had a different perspective on it. I want you to reiterate what you were saying last week, Stormy. When people say Joe Joyce is slow.
Yeah, I just said that, men who carry masks can be perceived as slow until you put them in there with something to gauge speed. You see it in the NFL every single day with linemen.
Yeah.
How does that 360-pound quarterback in 4 seconds? Huh?
That's right.
Now, if you put him on a plane where he's alone and he's moving, he may not give the impression of having that type of speed. But it's just like I made the analogy of when you watch the giant monster flicks with the what do they call them now? The
guy,
what do they call them, Drew?
The kaiju.
For giant monsters, they got a name for it now.
Kaiju. I think they're called kaiju.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you notice on film when they show them, because they're so massive, they move in slow motion.
Yeah.
But they're covering many miles as they're moving because of their mass and their size. So the only way to depict that where the eye can perceive what's actually happening is to slow it down, to make it look like, oh, they're moving in slow motion or whatever, but they're covering many spans of miles. It's the same thing in boxing when you're looking at a guy like Joe Joyce and he's pummeling these guys, and it looks like he's slow because he's massively structured, larger than them. But if he was so slow, why aren't they getting out of the way from him? George Foreman used to do the same thing to people, and Ali going into their fight, Ali made fun of George.
Yeah.
He called him the mummy.
The mummy,
and
yeah.
That he walks around, boom, boom, hitting people and stuff like that. And that's how Ali depicted him. But ask Ken Norton how fast those punches came. And ask Joe Frazier how fast and frequent those punches came. And those were two quality fighters who both beat Ali. Huh? But they still ended up being KO'd inside of 2 rounds by George Foreman. So
it can make sense.
I think that Joe Joyce represents something, and I said this a moment ago. I said that he's a throwback. He's like old school. But see, new school don't recognize the science of boxing like what I'm explaining. They have to be shown. You understand? And so when you look at Joe Joyce out there, look at Bryant Jennings. Now we know how athletic Bryant Jennings is. We know how good he is against fighting bigger people. Look what he did against Klitschko. He frustrated the heck out of Klitschko. But Joe Joyce put him in a position that once Jennings couldn't hurt him with anything, and Joyce closed the ring off on him. It just, the perception was that all Jennings wanted to do was sit up against the ropes. But he couldn't do anything else because Joe tracked him down. He knows how to cut the ring off like George Foreman. He knows how to throw that jab just consistently in your face, in your chest. And after a while, the pressure that the man applies, it creates mental distress.
Mental distress.
Because a lot of guys today aren't prepped to deal with mental distress in boxing because they are never challenged in the gym or in a professional match where they have to take stock and bring something or have something be brought out of them as a fighter. And Freddie is there. He knows all about that because if it ain't in you, you can't reach around and find it. You can't ask somebody to pass it to you like a football. You can't ask somebody to substitute. It's either there or it isn't. And 80% of the fighters today, it's not there. And 80 is a lot of 100.
It's a lot.
I'm telling you, somebody need to applaud that brother because he's talking the truth, boy.
That's why we call him the sensei. That's why we call him the sensei. No lies detected here. That's real talk right there.
Definitely.
I'm looking for something. Freddie, you go ahead and cook on what he was saying. I'm trying to find something right here.
About the fighters, what's going on nowadays in boxing?
Yes.
Oh, please. I just listened to, I watched the fight yesterday on ESPN. It was a replay of two fighters. There was Floyd and somebody else, and another kid I watched. And man, these commentators nowadays, I mean, the fighters aren't as good as they are. And you know, Floyd's always going to look good when he's in with a guy that's out there nowadays, because they really don't have no real competition for him. Well, not exactly nowadays, but when he was actually fighting, you know, there wasn't nobody out there that really could deal with him. So, you know, he did real well. But the commentators, I watch how they speak. They don't know nothing about the game. Their comments are stupid. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing technical. They don't know nothing about technical about the game. So how you gonna comment on something that you don't really understand? They just be saying anything. I'm like, it's fucking ridiculous, some of the stuff they say. You know, and it's like, you know, right now you need real people in the game, people who really know the sport. You know what I'm saying? But it's becoming, like I said, like some people always tell me, you know, it's becoming like wrestling.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? You look, you know, pretty much can look at the fighters and see who's going to win the fight. And that's crazy. I ain't going to pay for no fight where I know who the winner is going to be. And eventually they're going to kill the sport.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And this is the sad state of affairs that we're living in right now.
Yeah.
Getting back to Stormer's analogy, as far as us having a misconception of what speed is, the way it registered in my mind is how we look up and see an airplane flying and it looks slow as hell. But we know that plane is going fast as hell for it to be in the air. You understand? So Joe Joyce is the truth. Get hit a lot, but
and you know the thing, Joe Joyce, he possesses that jab. You know, he looks slow when he's trying to hook, when he's trying to throw a straight right overhand right throw, but when he's always with that jab. I mean, that sucker's only coming at you from a foot away, but it's breaking bones, and all the while you're distorted. What's with this slow Joe? Boom, boom. How come I'm not seeing so straight? And then one of them slow right hands is going to nail you. But I mean, you look at Joe. He's into his mid-30s now. I don't think they want to invest in the guy. Really, I just it seems like they're just freezing him out because I mean, maybe Frank Warren doesn't see a future there. But then you look at Joe after a fight. He'll do a flip in that ring, bro. He'll do stuff that a 25-year-old kid can hardly do, man. So I think Joe Joyce is. I think he's defied time a little bit. I think he's well preserved, but I think they're wasting his talent. After he beat Dubois, he should have been pushed. He should have been moved on. Instead, we're talking more about Daniel Dubois now than we're talking about Joe Joyce. And Joe Joyce he's in la la land. You know, nobody's screaming for Joyce and Fury. What a fight that would be, bro. I mean, damn. I'd make sure I had a good channel to stream that one on, bro.
Look at how twisted that is, Bruce Goes. You just made a very valid point there. He whooped the crap out of that young upstart, Danny Dubois, gave him a boxing lesson, in the words of Ali. Yeah. He couldn't get past the jab.
Wasn't that supposed to be his breakout fight?
101. That's boxing 101. And Dubois hasn't gotten better. Okay? He's just coming back. And they're still pushing Dubois, but not the guy who gave him a lesson. That shows you the lack of boxing knowledge that these idiots have.
But that only goes to confuse the casual fan. They're like, but this guy beat this guy, and how come this guy's advancing? So it's like, I'm not gonna follow this sport, man. I'm gonna go follow something simple like the WWE.
What wasn't that supposed to be Daniel Dubois' breakout fight, beating Joe Joyce?
Yeah,
that was supposed to be his breakout fight. So being that it didn't work out, shouldn't that have been shouldn't that have been Joe Joyce's breakout fight?
Nobody been asking the question, win that fight.
How would he look in the ring against Wilder, against Fury? You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't that have been the logical? I know we asked that.
Listen, I always felt like, even before the Fury with Wilder fight, I always felt like, man, if Wilder has to face Joe Joyce, he gonna be in trouble, because if the guy can take Wilder's punch, he may be able to just walk through and over a period of time just do the Wilder with that jab that he would, like he did Dubois. That's not a mistake, man. It's not a mistake when someone has something. And Joe Joyce has about, when you talk about a 5-dimensional fighter, he has possibly 3.5 to 4 dimensions that would make him very formidable in the division at the top of the sport. But like I said, they're so accustomed to providing you with watered down BS because they understand that people love like reality shows and stuff like that. So if you take someone of no substance, like a Joshua, people will get behind that and they'll be like, yeah, that's Joshua. It's like, but he can't fight. But look at his muscles. He looks good, but he can't fight. I like how he wears those robes and stuff. It's like, it has nothing to do with boxing. Their love for him. He gets hit on the chin and get knocked down several times in the fight, and they're like, oh, get up, Joshua, get up. You know, but he can't get up because he ain't that good. You understand? And then they say, well, he deserves another chance. Why? You understand? But this is how they bought into this, bro. That's why the Kardashians have been the biggest reality show over the past 15 years or so. People love train wrecks. They love this, what's not good for them. Oh, you know, just give me more. And it doesn't make sense to the people who have sense.
You know, you're right. You know, people talking about they love train wrecks, and we just want what's right. For instance, I was just on Instagram, Otto Wallin just signed for a fight against I don't know who. And I think it's happening in the next couple of months. But that man was just in the mix with all of this. He was supposed to fight Dillian White. Where's his justice? And why are we the only people talking about justice for Otto Wallin? What the fuck?
And a little while ago, people were saying in the chat here, well, Joe Joyce ducked Luis King Kong Ortiz. I don't know that I believe that, but I believe that maybe the people who promote Joe Joyce, they don't want something like that. They want something that they can either make a killer bag off of, or they will hold their cards in their hands. And you've seen people play poker, right? It's like some people have a winning hand, but don't even want to take the risk of playing their hand out. It's a foolish thing that we see in today's time. And like I said, we got Freddie here. He can tell you that there was a time that our society wasn't like this, because we are old enough to know the difference. But man, this generation that's a couple of generations behind us and halfway behind us, it is almost deplorable that people don't want to look out for their own base interests, but they're willing to submit onto everything.
I want to ask y'all a question. When did you notice that boxing started heading in this direction?
Oh shit.
I want to say maybe the late 90s, like when we were rounding into 2000.
Yeah.
The early 2000s, when we started turning that curve to coming into the early 2000s, it just seems that some things began to fall apart in our society.
Yeah. I noticed when I start watching fighters get credit for being good top fighters, and half the fighters in the top 10 didn't belong. You know what I'm saying? Half the guys that were getting title fights were guys that were built up with a bunch of wins, undefeated. They tried to start this undefeated era from 1980 to through the 90s, and now it's just ridiculous. But it's like there's no such thing as an undefeated fight. If you've been in there with the best in the world and the best fighters out there, you ain't gonna be undefeated for a long time. Somebody's gonna beat you. But they try to fake and build fighters up to be undefeated by picking out guys they can beat.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And they did that for Floyd for a long time, and then Floyd started fighting top fighters. Fights got close, but he's still base. Basically got to him and won a few fights. I watched a few fights he shouldn't have won, but you know, that happens a lot in the game. You know, you get a guy that's very popular, and he's gonna bring the promoters money. So what did judges do? They gonna get paid as well. So they make sure this guy wins.
Let me play this real quick from my brother Aaron. He sent me this on the gram about a week ago.
Well, Drew, gotta bring you this question. I was just chopping it up with some old timers. We talking about Deontay Wilder. And of course, you got guys saying he's done. You got guys saying he could do it. But one old timer said something that stuck out. And I want to know what you think. He said this: don't confuse what Tyson Fury did to Deontay Wilder with the rest of these bums in the heavyweight division. It ain't that often this 6'7", 240 comes across 6'9", 280. So he explained Tyson was big enough physically to push Deontay on his back foot, and he could box. How many other guys, 6'9", 280, he can box like Tyson? He says, exactly. Nobody. Ain't nobody else in the division capable of putting Deontay on the back foot, and that's the only way to beat him. So the rest of these guys are going to go to bed. So tell me what you think about it.
I'd like to respond to that, Drew.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Listen,
your thoughts
man,
on it?
all of that is bullshit. And I'll tell you why. In the first fight, Deontay Wilder knocked him the fuck out. And they cheated him out of his knockout in the 12th round. The dude was unconscious. And the referee woke him up and let him continue to fight. And they took a victory away from a man who was knocking out damn near everybody he got in the ring with. Because they didn't want him as a champ. They did not want him to be the champ. They didn't want him to be undisputed. They didn't like what he stood for, what he spoke about, how he represented. And that's not all glitz and glory. But they figured in these times, when our public is more impressionable than ever in history, that he was not the model. that they wanted. So they conspired against this man in the second fight and allowed cheating to take place, and they took his title away from him. And coming out of that second fight, he was compromised physically, possibly forever. Nobody wants to talk about that. So in the third fight, the only mistake Deontay Wilder made was not getting his own gloves that he would normally get. And he tried to do what they did to him in the second fight by one-upping them and say, well, if they want to play around with the gloves, I'll do the same thing and I'll wear the same kind of gloves and we'll go from there. And he ended up breaking his hand. But when he put Fury on his ass 4 times now in 3 fights, he never got the benefit of a fighter who downs another fighter. In the third fight, the referee spent more time trying to get him to a neutral corner than picking up the count that Fury clearly didn't beat.
Yep.
In the third fight.
Yep.
So what the fuck are we talking about here? You don't big up someone and give them glory when they were out there totally greasy. This is bullshit. The man was knocked out in the first fight.
And what we're seeing here is salute. That was my brother Aaron. He was talking about a conversation he was having at a barbershop. And those are the people in the barbershops that don't have the inside scoop like how we have it. They just looking at it as
about an inside scoop, Drew, because the man he didn't beat that count in the first fight, and he didn't beat the count in the third fight.
Well, what I'm saying is they're looking at it as boxing. They're not looking at it from a trained eye like how they believe they are. They don't see it like how we see it. So they're gonna have those broad conversations like nothing happened. Like there was no long count. There was no mysterious poisonous water. There was no gloves. There was no glove gate. They're just looking at it as boxing. They're not looking at it with a trained eye like how we're looking at it. You understand what I'm saying? They just see 2 fighters getting in the ring. They had a 3-month camp and they fought. You talk to a motherfucker after this whole trilogy, and you say, man, that third fight should have happened a year ago. They don't know nothing about no arbitration or nothing.
Let me show you more about dimensions of fighters. David Hay whooped Valuev's ass, didn't
beat his ass.
That was a David and Goliath fight. So did Evander Holyfield.
Yep.
It's not the size of the fighter. It's the size of the fight that's in the fighter. So it's like these guys coming up. I'm sorry, but those young men sound awfully ignorant about the sport of boxing.
They are.
Because just like we got Freddie on here. Freddie don't give a damn if you weigh 230 or if you weigh 140.
Damn sure don't.
If he put hands on you, he can still put your lights out. That's called capable. And you heard me say that we're living in an era that out of 100%, about 80% aren't capable. They are not. I said that a moment ago. And I stand.
Hey, Drew, can I share this with you, bro? I think you're going to really enjoy this, man. Trust me.
Okay, what you got here? Go ahead, I got it up.
His son gets in problems, and he hops over a fucking rope, and the fucking people are rushing at the old man. I'm over that fucking rope, and I'm fucking helping out the old man. And I saw Tyson Fury pull a fucking lion fucking from the Wizard of Oz before he got the heart. He fucking ran through the fucking glass windows. The big fucking orb stood there and watched Billy Joe Saunders, fucking gypsy old man, get fucking mauled by a bunch of fucking ushers at this fucking fight. When Tyson Fury could have stepped over the railing, he didn't have to jump over it. He could step. He's 6'9". He could have stepped over it and said, whoa, whoa, whoa. He wouldn't even have to throw a punch. And he could have kept the fucking old man from getting bum rushed. But the fucking yellow lion motherfucker stood there like a fucking yellow lion.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna say one thing. Oh, he's still talking. Let me leave that alone.
Dad's worried about him. Worrying the old man, Tyson, you big fucking gypsy fucking retarded.
Oh.
Hanging out with Adrian Broda, you big stupid fucking org. Fuck you.
Oh man, what is that? Bruce, well, you know what? I don't know whose content that was.
No, that's my brother Mad Chad. He sent the Twitter out like that, man. He doesn't mind if we share that, bro. I think that was one of the fucking most beautiful tweets I ever seen in my life, man. I had to share that with the family.
Yeah, he remember that. And look, okay, if they want to cap for Tyson, here's what I'll say. Maybe being that he's the pro fighter, if he jumped over that rail and started manhandling people, maybe they'd have put a lawsuit on his ass. I don't know. I know right now, if Freddie just moves someone out the way with his hands and they know who he is, they're going to jump on the floor and say, oh, the pro fighter hit me. They're going to jump right on the floor.
You ain't have to worry about saying it because I'm going to hit him. He can say for real I hit him because I'm going to hit him.
Man, listen, that's funny, man. Mad Chad, salute to Mad Chad, man. That's hilarious. But that was true. I remember that shit. I remember that. You know, that's funny. That shirt was distracting. But goddamn, man. Goddamn. But yeah, man. Look. The deal is this here. Everything that we're talking about, Danny Dubois, Tyson Fury, Joe Joyce. It also proves that the way we'll see. Look, check this out. You and the casual can agree on the outcome of a fight, but the reasons why we'll agree on the outcome will be totally different from what a casual will say. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what we get in barbershops. Now, my brother Aaron was just talking about what an OG said in the barbershop, what he was saying. And that's why Aaron asked me what I thought, right? That's why I wanted to go to Stormy first. So, you know, he was just looking at it as two fighters he's looking at it as the fight was clean. That's all he was saying. And what we're saying is we know better.
But Drew, also history shows you.
I mean, it's tons of dirt. And this game is one of the dirtiest, crookedest games out there. And people look right at it and act like it's not there. Like when I fought and defended my title with Vincent Phillips, I'm beating the crap out of him. And I get careless. I get hit with a body shot. I go down. I get up. I'm fine. I tell the referee I'm good. I can go. And the referee stops the fight. And I ask him what happened. My corner guy got up on the ring and got me disqualified. So now, you ain't gonna tell me you didn't know if you step on the ring apron in California, you're going to get your fighter disqualified. And he, you know, and all that stuff happens because somebody gets in your trainer's ear, you know, throw money at them or whatever they make deal they make. To sell you out, and it is happening all the time, especially when I was in it. You know what I'm saying? Now they turning boxing into a comedy sport. You know, it's really nothing serious about it. It's getting worse and worse. The fighters are getting worse and worse because a lot of good trainers aren't getting the jobs that, you know, like a lot of good trainers I know. They don't even come into boxing most of the time when they get out the game because nobody picks them up. Nobody, you know, gets them as trainers. They hire some clown that knows somebody that hires somebody. Like Floyd, he hires a few guys. He got a few guys that are really good, and a couple guys that aren't so good. But you know, he do pretty well. But then, you know what I'm saying? You got other trainers who hire these guys that get friends of theirs, they know them a little bit, and they get hired, they get jobs making good money because training is hard. And if you ain't really getting paid good money, you're not going to continue to do it. So you'll either do that or you move on. That's why a lot of top fighters don't come back in the game as trainers. You know what I'm saying? Because if they don't allow your fighters to move forward, you don't make money.
Do y'all see what I got playing? Bruce, you see that? You see that playing right there?
Mhm.
That fighter didn't land not one goddamn punch, and that ref stopped that fight. He's slipping and moving. Listen, if that was my fighter.
Hey, Freddie, you remember when Joey Curtis stopped the first Michael Dokes, Mike Weaver fight?
Who?
When Joey Curtis, the referee, when he stopped the first, when Michael Dokes took the title from Mike Weaver on that first round knockout when not a punch was standing.
Yeah, I saw that shit.
I mean, that shit's been going on forever in boxing, hasn't it, brother?
Yeah, you exactly. I can't say he's exactly right. It's been going on forever, and it ain't going to change because, and it's getting worse and worse because the people don't care. They accept it. They deal with it.
That's
you know what I'm saying? And they just do it as much as they want. And the people don't even say, "Look, if you ain't gonna put no fair fights on, I ain't showing up at this promoter's fights because he ain't doing the right thing." He, you know, his fighters winning fights and losing. I didn't pay to see that. I paid to see a good fight, and the winner gets the fight. But people don't care that much. As long as they at this big thing and a few stars show up, they can yell at them and this, that, and other. It seems like they satisfied because I don't want to. I'm myself. I haven't been keeping up with boxing because it ain't nothing to watch. Everybody talking about the good fighters, Charlo brothers coming up. I watched the Charlo brothers. I was bored to death. I ain't never watched another one of their fights. I checked them both out. They not that good. They run in throwing punches without remembering that people got punches that your opponent can throw a punch too. You know, they walk in the bombs and everything else. So I'm like, I really don't see where everybody's saying how good the Charlo brothers are. They may be winning, but they ain't showing me no real skills. I mean, anybody can bang with somebody. That's not hard. You know what I'm saying? And you can win a punch-out match, but show me some skills. You know, I know you can get hit upside the head and keep going, but show me some skills. And then I'll jump behind and say, yeah, oh, they great. But I haven't seen that yet.
Look at this.
And then when you talk about a guy like Floyd or a guy like me can come back and do well, that's crazy.
I mean, if it makes dollars, it makes sense.
Watch this ending, bro.
Yeah, this ending is ridiculous. I do remember watching the replay of this. I was a kid when this happened. What year was this, Bruce?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say 1982.
Yeah, I was about 7.
What fight is that?
This is
That was
Dokes versus Weaver.
Dynamite Dokes and Mike
Oh
Weaver.
yeah, that was crazy. that last punch was crazy.
But
Mike
there was
wasn't
no
out.
punch. The referee jumped in the middle too fast, man. This was right after Ray Mancini killed Dooku Kim. So look at that.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
that
bullshit. You see
What
that?
the- Oh,
Oh man.
Yeah, but Drew, check this out. We saw that last night.
All right, now let's get into that. Let's get into that.
Stephen Shaw, bro.
Big Shot Shaw, or whatever
Talk
they
about
call
it.
it, brother,
That too.
that everybody's talking about. Let me tell you something. That fight that he fought against a replacement guy on short notice and short training camp, of course, he embarrassed himself. He embarrassed himself. Listen, a fighter who's in shape and who can fight back, because remember, he was supposed to be in shape, right? So he looked marginal. Now you put him in there with someone who's in shape like he's supposed to be, if not better, fighting back. He's in trouble. And I know people love him. He's from an area that people get behind him and love him and support him and all of that. But what have I always said? Love the game, the sport. Don't love the individuals. They come and go.
That's right.
You will allow yourself to believe in fairy tales, following behind some of these fraudulent guys. Huh? And I say fraudulent because just because you 6'5", 6'6", 200 plus pounds, can hit hard and ugly, huh? And you mean mug people. That's what I mean. You scare them. You intimidate them. And that's somebody who don't fight. But somebody who fight be like, come on, bring it. We saw the referee step in during the clinch last night and stop the fight and give Shaw a TKO victory. He did not earn a TKO victory. During the last round of a fight that he was not going to knock the guy out. So marketing says on his record, and let's just go by the end of the year, people won't even remember this. You understand? But on his record, it show up as TKO. You got to earn the TKO, brother. You can't just have a referee come in and stop things and give it to you. We've seen a lot of that lately, and nobody's complaining about it. Referees injecting themselves in a fight when the fighters are supposed to decide their fate. And it's happening too much.
That's been going on for a long time.
Yes.
That's been going on for a long time. I was in the Stroh's tournament. I'm beating the guy, and I get hit with a shot, and I slip, and I fell out the ropes. So when I come back in, and I tell the referee I'm okay, the referee just stopped the fight and gave it to the other guy because they knew I was going to win the tournament, and they didn't want me to win the tournament. They had already picked the winner.
What's the rule when you fall out the ring? You have a certain amount of seconds to get back in, right?
Yeah, I got back in on time, and I told the referee I was fine. He stopped the fight anyway.
Unbelievable.
Didn't even pay me no mind. Just stopped the fight. And I'm like, what the hell? It's the last fucking round. I only got one more round left. What you stopping the fight for? He didn't care. He just stopped the fight and gave it to the other guy. And that was the semifinals. And they sent this clown to the finals who wasn't going to win it. So, I mean, but you know, that was the first time I went. The second time I went, basically, you know, they did the same thing. You know, they beat the hell out of a guy. Then the guy filed a protest, all this bullshit. You know, it's a lot of crap that goes on in the game, and I've been through all of it. So
they did that to Gerald McClellan over there.
Boxing ain't no sport you want to pick to go into if you're not prepared to go through a lot of BS.
Yeah. What'd you say, Stormy?
They did that to Gerald McClellan over there in New England, in the UK when he fought Nigel Benn. He knocked Nigel Benn out and threw the ropes.
Yep.
And he knocked him out and threw the ropes.
Nigel was hit did not beat the back of the head from round one. And the referee never said shit. The referee sitting there watching him bang him in the back of the head. Nigel Benn hit him 3 times in the back of the head. And the referee ain't sending him a break and separate him. And he said, what the hell, man? This guy's hit me in the back of the head. He pointed it out. The referee didn't do nothing. Then he ends up in a coma. He had a lot. He couldn't even walk.
I gotta play this, y'all. Hold on.
I would never let a white boy beat me. I would never let a white boy beat me. I'd never let a white boy beat me.
Who is that? Who said that? Who is that?
Freddie, that's your boy D-Hop.
I can't. I'm sorry, Freddie. I was playing.
That's your boy B-Hop.
That was your friend Bernard Hopkins screaming about he'll never let a white boy beat him, and then Joe Smith happened. Salute to Long Island.
You see Teddy right today, you
that
gotta watch what you say, man.
ring.
It's always gonna come back and bite you. But you know, I gotta say, last night the fight we were talking about with Stephen Shaw, man, I don't think his management paid attention because that TBA, that Joey Dewaki, bro, I've seen him around a lot. He's durable. His last fight, he got knocked out in, but before that, man, I think it was like way back in 2012 when he fought Charles Martin. And this is a durable guy, always in the gym, never looks in shape. I don't care if he's had a 12-week training camp. He's always going to come in looking like the Michelin Man. And, well, he's not going to be stopped that easily. Stephen Shaw just took him as another stepping stone. And I think it was like a wake-up call, man. I'm not going to forget this fight, man, because I think if he fights the better competition, I know Shaw's got to go back and take a little bit of self-inventory and get back to basics, man. You know, he was getting hit.
So you're saying Shaw amongst the in the division right now, where would you guys put him? I'm gonna go around first. I'm gonna start with you, Bruce. Where would you put on Big Shot Shaw right now?
Well, you know, he's a prospect. You know, he has to show me something else. But and there's a lot of prospects. I love to see these guys fight each other, man. You know, iron sharpens iron. We said that so many times in here. Don't go looking for soft touches to pad that record. An L is not the worst thing in the world. Man, an L will boost your career. Dude, you know, a perfect example, the guy that I interviewed last week, Tim Witherspoon, he fought freaking Larry Holmes. He got the L, but look what happened after that, man. Went on, he got 2 world titles. Man, you know, he's probably one of the best heavyweights walking the planet at a certain time, man. And that L means shit.
Bruce goes.
Yeah.
Tell the people, not only was Larry Holmes the real heavyweight champion of the world, but how many fights did Tim Witherspoon have when he got in there with Larry Holmes?
What, 14, maybe 12?
Hello. Bring the truth. Bring the truth. Because see, Bruce goes, see, you know, and I know. But
wait, how many fights he had before he got Larry?
14, I believe. He was an experience. Oh yeah,
this is what and not to cut Bruce off, but I wanted him to tell you because I don't want to make it seem like I'm a know-it-all. But I asked him to tell you because I want you to understand.
Oh shit! I didn't know that. That's like right over my head. I didn't know that.
Why do you think I'm so highly critical of these guys? Big Shot Shaw went into that fight last night with 11 fights against a guy who ain't going to be no closer to the heavyweight championship than me right now. Okay? Freddie Pendleton is on here with us. He'll tell you. When guys, Evander Holyfield in his 12th professional fight went in there against Dwight Muhammad Kawi and won the Cruiserweight Championship of the world. So when I tell you about these guys and I say, hey, I'm not impressed, okay? I'm not just some dude on the microphone here talking ish. I'm telling you because I've seen greatness and I've seen worthless.
You see, you learn something every day. Now, I know Terrible Tim Witherspoon, his career, the fighter. Those little things go right over my head. I didn't know that he had barely 15 fights or so before he got Larry Holmes. What the fuck? I wasn't.
Larry Holmes was chasing Marciano's record, so he had damn near triple the fights that Tim Witherspoon had.
Well, salute to Tate Jones. He in the chat. I see you. I see all of y'all. We just cooking right now. He mentioned Mack Truck, who also fought last night. He's another up and coming kid. Did y'all ever y'all get to see Mack Truck fight? Yeah. Very deceptive physique. You know, doesn't look like he has stamina problems. He's not going to win no pose down. He's not like, you know, not built like AJ. But according to Tate Jones, who knows him personally, he said the kid got cracks. The kid's a puncher. He's about 6 feet tall. You know what I mean? The kid's a puncher. He weighed in at 270. And I firmly believe as he moves forward in the sport, all of that's going to come together. You know, I'm watching him on Instagram very closely. He seems dedicated to his craft. So, you know, I'm going to keep an eye on the kid. You know what I'm saying? I like what I see so far. It looks like he's a true student of the game. He ain't in there bullshit, you know, based off of what I've seen.
Right.
Yeah, so, you know, Shaw, if there's a top 10, in your opinion, Stormy, where would you put Shaw right now?
Outside the top 10?
Okay. Bruce, where would you put him?
Yeah, 15. I mean, there's a lot of hungry prospects out there. You know, there's a lot of cruiserweight, borderline heavyweights. I think he has a lot to prove. I think there's, you know, when you say where do I put him, we're also talking about the established fighters too. So you know, I'd rate him probably about the 15th in the world right now, and just barely.
Let me pull up the. Well, you was gonna say something, Freddie?
I don't know this guy really. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really say nothing.
I'm gonna pull up the top. Let me pull up the rankings right now. Official rankings. All right. WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO. WBC still. Do I even want to look at it? Fuck the WBC. Let's go to the WB. Let's go to the IBF. They got Usyk at number one. Usyk number one. Well, he's a champion. Number one is not rated. Number two is King Kong Ortiz, Bergovich, AJ, Tony Yoka, Joe Joyce. And then we go, now we're going from 7 down. Ajit Caballel, Murat Gassev, Andy Ruiz, Charles Martin, Joseph Parker, Dempsey McKean, Zilel Zhang, the tall Chinese dude, Huey Fury, and Martin Bakoli. That's the top 15 right there in the IBF. So all of these guys that I mentioned, they're legitimately ahead of Big Shot Shaw.
Politics in the ratings, Drew. You know that, man.
True. I'm looking at the WBO. Sort of the same. I see Frank Sanchez there. Michael Hunter, he's legit. This number 15, I don't even know who the hell that is. Valslav Serenko. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. So, why the fuck is Otto Wilder not in any of these? Okay, never mind. I ain't gonna look too deep into it. Right now, what would be a good fight? Since he won, it's a TKO for Big Shot Shaw. Because I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for Big Shot Shaw. What would be a good fight for him moving forward next maybe 2.5 months? Right now, what would be a good fight for him? Anybody?
What's his record?
What'd you say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Big Shot Shaw, what would be good work for him moving forward right now? It would be a good fight for him moving forward.
Take on Efe Ajagba.
FA right now, off of a loss?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
What's his record?
It's time for people to start
I'll
separating
tell
the
you right
wheat
now.
from the chaff, man. It's as simple as that. I know one thing. He can't mess with Big Baby Anderson right now. Even though there was some sentiment that he might have something.
Hold on. You asked what is Shaw's record? I'm gonna look it up right now. I don't know off the top of my head.
Because if he got more than 10 fights, he should be stepping up. You know what I'm saying? Fighting guys, you know, close to the ratings and stuff like that. And if he got over that, he should be fighting people in the ratings. You know, because if you're trying to become champ of the world, you got to make your move.
He's 16-0, 12 knockouts. 12, TKO last night. Okay.
He got beat?
No, he's 16-0.
Okay.
Hey, we talked about Joe Joyce. If they're gonna put Joe Joyce as a gatekeeper, let him go knock on the door, man.
Joe Joyce?
Well, hey, Joe Joyce is doing nothing.
Put him in there with Joe Joyce.
Shaw said last night that he models his style after Larry Holmes and after Muhammad Ali, and you can see it, but it's not on that level at all. But man, you know, how old is Stephen Shaw now? He's got to be in his early 30s.
Joe Joyce will do to him the same thing he did to Danny.
Researching this. Let me ask y'all a question.
Well, you know, there comes a time in your life where you have to shit or get off the pot, bro. We're talking about saving an L. 23 and 25. Thomas Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard. Thomas Hearns caught his first L. What did he do? Did he lay down and die? No, he soared he rose like the phoenix from the ashes. 5 different titles, 5 different divisions, bro. I mean, get these guys together. Fight anybody. Fight somebody who we know the name of, not some TVA character that's gonna, you know.
L Dub, salute to L Dub in the chat. Where is Shaw ranked in the IBF? Because I don't know. Well, you know what? Tell me where he's ranked in all of the sanctioning bodies, because I don't see him here. And if he's going to replace anyone in the top 15, WBC is looking pretty dangerous, but go get the work. WBA is looking pretty dangerous, but go get the work. How y'all feel about I don't mean to pick on the guy, but Zhilei Zhang. I mean, he didn't look impressive. He's just a big lumbering dude. What y'all think about that? What y'all think about Big Shot Shaw versus Hughie Fury, who's ranked number 14 in the IBF? What y'all think about that?
I like it.
Okay. Well, I think at this point, he said Shaw's unranked in all sanctioning bodies. Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't know that. That's why, see, I'm saying, everybody in the chat, I don't know every goddamn thing. That's why I'm asking. So if he's not ranked, he needs to take someone's spot. Jafari says fight Jared Anderson. Sheesh.
They're both on the same banner.
Go after the Asian fella. I think that kid's Chinese. Copper says that's a good fight. Hughie Fury, he's gonna get cheated out of his mind. I don't trust anything with a Fury last name. I'm looking at that top fit. He's not ranked anywhere. So I'm looking from 13 down. Caballel is ranked 13 in the WBO. Zhilei Zhang is ranked 13 in the IBF. Who's ranked? Jonathan Greedy is ranked 13 in the WBA. And you got Otto Valin that's ranked 13 in the WBC, who was just about to put the beats on Dillian White until Dillian White ducked out of that shit. So L-Dub says, and L-Dub knows his stuff. He says Hughie's on a course with Otto Valin. Valin has a tune-up this weekend. It's this weekend? On the Eubanks undercard. It's this weekend? I thought it was like a month from now. I saw him saying something on Instagram today. Is this weekend? Because you know he wasn't trained. That wouldn't make sense. I thought he was like a month from now or so. I didn't hear it. I wasn't listening. So it's this weekend because he's already been in camp. He was training to fight White, and then White ducked him. White ducked Otto Valin. Don't get it fucked up. He ducked him. So okay, so he's on a collision course with Hughie Fury. Okay. So what about the other names that I mentioned? What's next for Big Shot Shaw? I'm rooting for the kid. I'm calling him a kid. You know, he's 29. But I'm rooting. He's an American fighter. I mean, what am I gonna do? I'm rooting for him. So to crack that top 15 in any sanctioning body, the names that I mentioned, I think Jonathan Greedy and Zhang and Caballel. Caballel was, remember when they was trying to throw Caballel at Tyson Fury amidst the Deontay Wilder circus? So, hey, man, I'm with it. Votes UK said Jared Anderson. That's another guy getting a lot of praise, but he's knocking out everybody who has to knock out. So now it's time for Jared Anderson to take that next step. So what would you deem next for Jared Anderson? Stormy, what's next for Jared Anderson?
Put him in there with somebody that can fight back. You know, he's been in against a lot of guys that he can stop, but he has to be able to show us what he can do late in fights. And right now they haven't put him in with guys that you know can take him deep. So that means he's got to step up to another level, whoever that might be.
What's his record?
Who, Big Baby Anderson? These guys are undefeated.
If they're undefeated and you got over 15 fights, you should be aiming for the top 10. Anybody in the top 10.
Absolutely.
That's what I would be. That's what I did.
Hey,
whenever I got my shot, I was trying early in my career, but none of those guys would fight. And then when I got rated, I never got out of the ratings until I quit.
Y'all know I'm still bugging off of how did I miss Tim Witherspoon 15 fights in getting Larry Holmes? I just didn't pay attention to that. I'm still bugging off of that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Bruce, Jared Big Baby Anderson. What's next?
Oh, bro, you know, like Freddie was saying, Stormy, after you get 11 fights, 10 fights, you're undefeated, man. You know, you go for somebody who's got a marquee name, bro. I mean, I'm spoiled. I come from the era where these heavyweights fought everybody, man. Ron Lyle and Ernie Shavers would mix it up for the hell of it, you know. I mean, shit. I mean, even I didn't want to start rapping off names because I'll get going over here. But we're talking top 10 marquee heavyweights. These guys want to make $1 million fighting each other, you know, per fight. You're not going to get it, getting one of these ham and eggers off the couch anymore. It's not entertaining. It's boring. There's so much competition. While you're fighting, there's probably another fight going on right now, bro. Think about that. You can't. One name just doesn't make it. On an undercard, you got to stack them up. These guys have to fight quality opponents. If you get an L, learn by it. Go back to the drawing board. Start all over again. It's happened a million times. I don't know any boxer. I mean, Floyd and Marciano. Any boxer that we're going to march to the Hall of Fame that doesn't have an L on their record. L's, man. Some of those L's are a badge of courage, bro. I mean, they make you better. We keep saying iron sharpens iron. Fight another fighter. You're not going to be thrown to the back of the heap. You're not going to be forgotten anymore. You fight honorably. You get knocked out. Hey, some guys get knocked out and they come back. It's how you get knocked out and how you get beat. Stand up for yourself, man. You're not getting the right price. Don't take it to arbitration, purse bids. Get what they're going to give you the best you can. Bet on yourself. Think about your future, man. Do like Floyd, man. If everybody wants to model themselves after Floyd, take the short money. Bet on yourself. I mean, that's the only lesson that any fighter should be taking out of Floyd. But that's how I feel about it, Drew.
No doubt. Salute to St. Louis Mix in that super chat. He said Big Shot got the same treatment from PBC as Gary Russell Jr., but even less fights. Now that he's with Top Rank, I'm hoping he can get the fast track to his career. Man, we ain't got no friends out here. PBC, Top Rank, Don King, it's all the same. And I hope people understand that shit now. It's all the same. And Freddie's on the line. He can tell you. There ain't no friends out here. Ain't no friends out here. These guys are all about one color. That's that greenback, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this
who they can make the most money with is who they go with.
That's who they go with. That's who they go with, man. L Dub said that Big Baby Anderson might get like a Carlos Takam on the White Fury undercard. I can see that happening. Looks like they're grooming him, but you can never be too sure. You can never be too sure. See, guys like that, it concerns me. Throw them in the smoke right now. Once you get past 10 wins, man, throw them in the smoker with somebody official. Because everybody's always one loss away from being forgotten about. I want y'all to remember a fighter by the name of Audley Harrison out of the UK. This kid, they already put the crown on him. You remember Audley Harrison? Out the UK, he was supposed to be legitimately the next Lennox Lewis. It was grooming this kid. And then he just started getting knocked around the ring on the pro level. And there went that. They started calling him Fraudly Harrison. I mean, they turned on him fast. So, I mean, get him to maximize his dollar, man. These guys need to. No one said. Now, let me ask y'all a question. Because I don't know. Now I'm asking because I don't know. I'm putting on my student cap now because I don't know, guys. When Tim Witherspoon landed the Larry Holmes fight, was there anybody running around? There was no internet back then. Was there anybody at your local playground and a barbershop saying, Tim is too green, he shouldn't fight Larry? Was that conversation taking place anywhere? Bruce, was that happening? Well,
like I think Stormy said earlier, Larry was trying to beat Marciano's record. So Larry was sidestepping a lot of the heavyweights out there. In fact, Larry would discard a championship belt instead of fighting the mandatory because he wanted to get that 15-0 record. And Larry did his thing back in the in the early 80s and the late 70s. So it wasn't unusual to see Larry just fight somebody. He cherry picked towards the end of his career. Some of the cherry picks went wrong, but it was unusual to see it. But once it happened, I mean, Tim was a veteran, and it just it just kind of showed us that those records they don't mean anything. It's the quality of the fighter, and you know Tim's got that pedigree. The South Philadelphia gyms, Slim Jim Robinson as his trainer. I mean he was much more than your average 14-0 fighter coming in there, and you know Larry Holmes, he wasn't ready for him. That's a hell of a story. So sometimes you get Tim on here and he'll tell you about that story right from the hotel room shit that happened before that fight, and how. And how he wanted to fight Larry in the halls. Larry got him thrown off the floor. I mean, the story will blow you. It'll drop your jaw. Some of that shit that Tim comes out with, man. You know, but you don't see that happen anymore. You think you're going to see Tyson Fury fight a 14-0 fighter? You think you're going to see any of these guys, even the top five? They're comfortable waiting for a year and then making their several $1 million. You know, it's just not like it used to be. It never will be. So I'm taking with the giveness, and hey, I'm tired of sounding like the grumpy old man complaining. You know,
you know, I like Tim. I knew him. We Philadelphia. You know, so I knew him. I used to go down to the gym every now and then. You know, just because I used to go to everybody's gym and check everybody out. You know. And you know, I knew Tim, but we weren't like friends or nothing like that, but I knew him. And you know me, I had a big mouth when I was younger. So it kind of got me and him got in kind of a back and forth. And we knew each other, but we wasn't really friends. So, you know, because I was down at his gym, he told me, you don't come down to my gym talking crap and this, that, and that. I was like, man, please, I go anywhere I want to go. But that's me. I'm crazy. So
Stormy. Were they saying that Tim Witherspoon was too green for Larry? Because Larry Holmes is one of my dad's favorite fighters of all time. You know what I'm saying? So was that the conversation, like at the barbershops and things of that nature? Was that the conversation back then that this guy was too green? Were they saying stuff like that?
No, not really, because Tim Witherspoon was going upside people's heads, man. But
he was cracked.
The thing is, I think Larry was trying to get him before he got any better than where he was or where Larry assessed him at that time. Because a year advanced and he's a year that much better. So it just happened to be one of those things that Witherspoon was able to rise to the occasion, take Larry, you know, what he had to offer, and he put some hurt on Larry. So it's like he was just good. He was good. And a future world champion.
I wasn't really watching it with a critical eye. I was like damn near 8 years old when this fight happened. but I remember, you know, sitting in the living room and, yo, man, how did we, sidebar, man, family that's my age, how the hell did we survive the 80s? Man, I remember beer cans in the back of the damn Cadillac rattling on the floor, no seatbelt. You know what I mean? Smoke-filled rooms, kids just standing there. What the hell, man? How did I survive? But whatever, man. But I got some of the fight playing right now. I'm not gonna play too much of it because obviously I'll get a flag. It's someone else's content. I'm just going through like the highlights. But
hey, I can make a phone call and we could probably get a participant on the line if you got a second, bro.
Oh, that'd be dope.
He loves to talk, bro.
That'd be dope. Tim, and by the way, look at that nice counter by Larry. But Tim.
Oh yeah, the ninth round is the best round of this fight. If you could just fast forward and catch that ninth round, bro. That's just
ninth round. Okay, here we go. It's the ninth right here.
He got surprised in that round.
And these guys weren't necessarily super big heavyweights. They both 6'3", but Larry was what, 215 in this fight, and Tim was around 2.
That was the size of the time.
Yeah.
Well, this is also the other thing. Tim mirrors a lot. He mirrors a lot of what Ken Norton did very well, and you know what kind of fight it was between Norton and Larry Holmes. So, you know, there was something to be said about that. And Larry Holmes was 35 years old here, you know, so it's like Tim was
Larry
25.
Was a warrior, man.
But everybody expected Larry to roll over in that fight, but not me. And a few other people was all betting on Larry, and everybody was telling. I got in trouble because, you know, Larry from
You see Larry using that left hand for defense? You see that?
Yeah.
That motherfucker had a good left hand. That shit would pop you open, boy. But he I went with Larry, and everybody else went with Tim.
Shit.
And I turned out to be kind of wrong because Larry put it on him.
Now Mike Weaver was in less trouble than this when they stopped that damn fight against Dokes.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Oh! Oh my God.
You saw him quick with that right?
Yeah, man. He caught Tim coming in. Tim's still there though. He's loading up with that right hand. Look at this. Oh my God. 54 seconds left.
Oh.
Look, Tim he just turned his head. Look at that. He knew it was coming. He's waiting on it.
Oh, Tim's a wizard in defense, bro.
This was stellar stuff. Everyone's standing. Oh my God.
You don't really see stuff like that nowadays.
No, you don't. You don't see this. Oh shit.
A young one coming up and coming, and a champion trying to stop his upward movement. So, and you know, Larry put it on him. You know what I'm saying? But everybody congratulated him when he got back because he put up a good fight.
That had to be Win Magazine Round of the Year.
Yeah, I don't want to play too much of that because I don't know what they're going to do. But God damn. That's boxing right there.
Yeah.
That's the sport I remember. That's why boxing.
That's what I say nowadays. You ain't never gonna see stuff like that.
Nah, there's only a handful of fighters that'll.
They're even good.
Yeah, man. My God, and that wasn't like Rock'em Sock'em. They were calculating with every punch that they threw. That was calculating, man. I mean,
back then, that's what we were taught. We were taught every punch has to have meaning, and when you throw it, you try to be perfect when you throw that punch. Because anytime when that punch lands, it could be the end of the fight. So I mean, we had to perfect everything that we did, and they kept pushing and pushing and pushing every day, the same thing. And it's not the same. With these trainers nowadays, they think they can just throw a bunch of punches and that's it. You know, like you ain't gonna get hit back. I watch these guys in the gym with working the mitts. And when you work the mitts, we had to punch with meaning with the mitts. You had to go through the mitts and drive your punches hard through the mitts when you punch in the mitts. Nowadays, all they do is just slap and stuff. Everybody's trying to copy that slapping that Floyd does. I said that Floyd came up with that because it wasn't about power. It's about speed, about hand speed, and putting your hands on the other guy and keeping him out your face while you move around him. And then when you're ready to land the big one, you land the big one. But everybody started trying to be, trying to land punches like that, and it, I don't know, it just.
Yeah, pad work is. What Floyd does, it looks good for the camera, but I've seen real pad work. And it don't look like that. It looks good. Yeah. I'm sure there's an aerobic element to it, hand and eye coordination or whatever. But I've seen real pad work. When we was in Vegas, we seen Deontay Wilder's pad work with Malik. We saw it right there. It didn't look like Floyd's. That was some thunderous. I'll just say he was hitting those goddamn pads, man. That shit was serious. I remember I saw a video of Bruce Seldon doing pad work. I was like, Jesus.
Oh yeah, Bruce was.
Damn.
Bruce was good.
Yeah, Bruce Seldon. He was hitting the hell out those pads. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
only thing about Bruce was he was headed for a good session in the game. He looked like he was gonna move forward. And then it just looked like he couldn't take a punch. He couldn't take the big shot. And I think that's the only thing that kept him from really being a good fighter, because he was fast, He had power. He moved around the ring good. You know, and he threw combinations. And I really thought he was going somewhere. And then he started getting caught. And when he got stopped a few times, he started backtracking. And I was like, man, you know, this guy was like rising fast. And then next thing you know, he's on his way down. He fell just
he
as
couldn't
fast
recover.
as he went up.
Once he got hit, he couldn't recover, man. And he stayed down. That was Bruce Seldon's career, man. Sad.
That was bad, man. That was real bad. Bruce Goes, you think he threw that fight against Mike Tyson?
You know, I don't know about Floyd, but I don't think he wanted to get up. I think he got hit a couple of times early, and he was looking for a way out. And that was Bruce Seldon, man. He didn't have the dog in him. When he won the WBA Heavyweight Championship, I was like, how the fuck did that happen, man? You know, crazy life, but you know, he was one of Don King's carries. He carried that title right to Mike Tyson like he was supposed to. And hey, man, God bless Bruce Seldon.
No doubt. Real quick, Stormy, Bruce Seldon. What you got on Bruce Seldon?
A guy who was very athletic and could have had a very meaningful jab. He won that title from Tony Tucker just, you know, on the left hand alone. He busted Tucker's face up. I think he fractured his orbital bone. His eyes swelled up and they had to stop that fight. But Seldon, if he had a little bit more of what was required as far as that, you know, that gumption, that one desire to try to be victorious, but he was just he was like, you know, Play-Doh when it came to being in there with real fighters, and I think that intimidated him a lot. He never put himself, you know, he never visualized himself being like the other guy. Like when he fought the real tough guys like Oliver McCall, Riddick Bowe, you know, he didn't picture himself beating those guys. He always saw a way of them being better, so he couldn't compete, and it showed in his fights. That's why when they talk about the mental aspect of boxing, it's tremendous, because if you can't perceive it, especially in boxing, you don't need to be in there. Because you're going to be asked the hard questions, and if you don't have the answers or don't even have the confidence to give a reply, you're going to end up like him. Like against Mike Tyson, I would believe that Tyson was probably every bit as afraid of Bruce Seldon that Bruce Seldon was against him. And Mike Tyson would look at a fighter like Bruce Seldon and say, gosh, that guy is big, he's cut, he's got a great jab, he can move.
He look like a running back.
And those kind of guys intimidated Mike Tyson. But we didn't know it then. We know it now because he's professed. But I knew it then because I understand the psychological aspects. But it's like, this is why you have to tell a guy, if he's your charge, you have to teach him, you have to put these things in him, and you have to have him believe in what you're saying, and also tell him that if you take what I say and you put it to work, you'll see the success behind it. And success brings more confidence. If he had went in there and hit Mike Tyson with something and Mike Tyson got hurt, he would have had the opportunity to jump on him and swarm on him or whatever. Tyson threw a punch that barely grazed the top of his head, and he went down to the floor like, oh, am I hurt? You know, and then he just kind of like, well, forget it, I'll just give up. But he never tried to fight. And it would have been interesting had he tried to fight, because just take Peter McNeely, who tried to attack Tyson.
He tried.
He tried. If Bruce Seldon had done that, who knows what would have happened? Because Mike Tyson proved that he was a shell of himself when he come back to the sport, you know. But Seldon was he was just a guy that if you draw it up, it's like he's AJ back then. You know?
Seldon had skills, but he couldn't take a shot.
Right.
That's one thing about him. He couldn't take a punch.
It's a true story, man. So
I heard somebody said, all right, is he not around anymore?
well, who?
Seldon.
Nah.
What happened? He passed?
No, what do you mean? Alive? No, I don't know. But I know he
I
ain't
thought
in the
somebody
game
said
no more.
R.I.P. to him or something. I didn't know he had passed away.
God bless him. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's alive or not.
I hope not. I hope he ain't
God
gone.
bless him either way, though, man.
He's younger than me.
Yeah. What I want to say. Oh,
Hey, Freddie, do you know what happened to Seldon's eye?
I don't know. Freddie, you know something about Seldon's eye?
Nah.
Because, you know, when he stopped boxing, something happened with his eye, one of his eyes, similar to what happened to, what's the other brother that fought the European guy, Drew?
You talking about Chris Bird's cousin, had him on the show.
Yeah, he beat
Klitschko.
Klitschko, yeah.
Oh, shit. Why am I having a brain fart right now? I know you're talking about. Oh, crap. You know what I'm talking about. He was on the show. We had him on the show as a guest a while ago.
ABBA.
Now it's bothering me.
Yeah.
What is his name? It's bothering me. Layman Brewster.
Layman
Oh,
Brewster.
okay, that was the big
Thank you, prize fighter.
Yeah,
Thank you, Layman Brewster.
Yeah, I got it.
Layman Brewster. Trick notes, he's working on something, y'all. He told me today he got a hold of Herbie Hyde.
Wow.
I can't wait to talk to him. I can't wait to talk to Herbie Hyde. Herbie Hyde was an underrated puncher. And Riddick both said something about Herbie that was funny as hell. Stormy, what did Riddick both say about Herbie?
Well, they were asking Bo who was the hardest puncher he ever faced. And Bo said Herbie Hyde. He said Herbie Hyde hit me so hard he knocked me out. But then he followed up with another punch that woke me back up.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
I remember those. I remember that one punch like that. That shit. When you really get hurt and you think you about to go and somebody wake you back up. Yeah.
Man, I remember that fight. Riddick just imposed his size on him because Herbie wasn't like the biggest heavyweight, slender build, but he was a puncher, man. That guy could punch, and Riddick stopped him. But I believe when Riddick calculates, why my motor skills are not what they used to be, Herbie Hyde is one of those guys that contributed to that. I'm almost sure. But if you look at that fight, they were fighting in the pocket, goddammit. And Herbie was hitting every punch.
Riddick contributed to that more than the fighters that he fought because he did those things. He didn't have to lay inside with people and let them hit him. And you have to understand that when it was happening in the live match, it was happening in the gym.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of those injuries happen in the gym. You're right.
I can't believe that he's the way he is now. He's a mess.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It makes me feel bad when I saw him in the gym. It makes me feel real bad.
Yeah, I'd have felt worse if they allowed him to fight Lamar Odom in that stupid ass celebrity match.
Wow.
I was 2 seconds from protesting. I'm like, whoever sanctions that needs to get put in jail because Riddick is in bad shape, man.
He's got, these guys down here tried to promote. We're trying to push the me and Bernard in a one of them non-match type matches type thing, like nothing official, but just like a workout type thing.
He's trying to put money up for that?
No, they was telling me I should push that. I should push because of what happened in the gym with Bernard, we should push it so we can actually have a what do you call it? A
celebrity match?
Fight or that type of match. And I said, man, Bernard ain't gonna agree to that. You crazy. He'll agree to spar in the gym, but he ain't gonna agree to spar in front of a bunch of people. Shoot, not him.
I think he's done. He's made his bread. And,
he's still making bread. He's still promoting, making tons of money.
A lot of these cats, they ain't finna give you a payday, especially if Bernard says, "Yo, I'm gonna fuck around and lose to this guy." High risk, low reward. He's gonna maintain his integrity. He'd rather go out like how he went out with Joe Smith knocking his ass out the damn ring.
He's smart because if Joe Smith did it, I'm gonna do it worse.
And you know, real quick, salute to Joe Smith before we get out of here. Bruce goes. What's next for Joe Smith?
He showed me nothing in his last fight. Joe Smith should have gave Vlasov a rematch, man. What's next for Joe Smith? He's a third of the light heavyweight division. He should be challenging Beterbiev. He should be challenging Bivol. You know, Joe Smith is doing nothing as far as I'm concerned, bro. I'm going to see it once again. Joe Smith against TBA. So, you know, fight some of these characters, bro. You got the light heavyweight division, and nobody's talking unification. Everybody's looking at Canelo Alvarez, man. That's you know,
man.
Get real, bro.
Y'all start talking banging, man. Y'all start getting me excited, man. I'll be ready to fight, man. Come on now, y'all gotta back up because my heart is starting to beat faster and everything. I'm thinking about smacking somebody real quick. Like, geez.
Stormy. Joe Smith. What's next for Joe Smith?
I think he's trying to get a fight with Bivol, but if that does come down, it'd be interesting because both guys can't get out of the way of themselves, and somebody's going to have to be tough enough to endure. And I would favor Bivol, but Joe Smith, he's a motivated guy, and sometimes when you have a motivated guy, they're hard to beat as well. So. But I think that's the fight they're trying to make next for him against Dimitri Bivol. I think that's what's up. He better stay the hell away from Beterbiev, though. If he think he can beat Beterbiev, he better wake up and apologize. Because the thing about Beterbiev is that Beterbiev gets stronger as the fight goes on, but the damage that he puts on people makes it where they can't get away from him as the fight goes on. Yeah, you might move early on and everything, and you got to try to cut the ring off and everything, but once he start banging you and getting those shots in there and you get fatigued, your defense ain't the same and ain't as tight as it was early on, and a guy like that just pounding on you. Look at what he did to Marcus Brown, who's far more athletic than Joe Smith. So he may think, but that's a tough test he ain't gonna pass. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, you know, this is the biased part of me. I'm rooting for Joe Smith. He's from New York. He's a hard worker. But those names you mentioned, especially Beterbiev, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that Beterbiev work. I don't know about that. That Beterbiev is. Yo, is that a look that those Russian kids have now? With the shaved head, looking like an ape with the shaved head and the beard. That's a look now. That's a look. I just saw some MMA guy last night from Russia. Had the same look. That's like a look. That kid from the UFC that beat up Conor McGregor. They all look like that now. When you're in the street, you come across a guy that look like that, they in the gym doing something. Think twice. Think twice. Don't fuck with those kids, man. Running around here looking like apes. But Beterbiev is a scary dude. You know, I mean, whatever Joe Smith decides to do is cool as long as he does something. But what I don't want is everybody at 175 waiting on Canelo, because it's like, what? Healer, that explains everything. I get it. Khabib, all of those guys, they're Muslims. I get it. That's why they look okay. It's a look. Okay. I get it. Salute to them. Those guys are tough, man. And Beterbiev, he had that cut in his head. He didn't stop. And Stormy's right. He just picked up the pace. And he just chopped down that tree and he stopped him. I said, damn. And I don't want any of those guys waiting for Canelo to get there. But my thing is this. I don't think Canelo beats that guy. He's going to try and drain him down to like 162 or something stupid like that before he fights him. You know what I mean? Come on, man. It's crazy. Beterbiev is a murderer. You know, so that's the guy to beat. But I want these guys to start thinking about undisputed at 175. That needs to happen because no one's fighting each other there. That needs to happen. And no one's calling for them to fight each other. How you at 175 waiting on Canelo? For what? That's why I said in the program, throw these belts in the trash and just give us the fights that we want. You understand what I'm saying? These belts is what holding shit up. It's crazy, man.
You know what it is? They want to make the most money they can make. When they put a fight on, they want to get all that money. And they're going to put the bigger names in with a guy that's going to be good competition. So they can, people say, damn, we got to go to this fight. I want to see this fight. And they're going to make big money. And if you ain't got nobody that can bring in money, he ain't going to get the fight. Plus, if nobody knows him.
Brother Roger says Yard wants Joe Smith next. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. That's a real good fight. I like that. Yard showed me. He showed me some skills. He showed me that he's tough. He's not willing to give up. You know what I mean? I think that's a damn good fight. That's a 50-50 fight, man. That's a 50-50 fight.
You know what you can say about Yard?
What's that?
He suffered a loss, and now he's on the comeback. You see what happens? A loss is not the end of the world.
It's not.
As a matter of fact, if you take it the right way, you can learn from it and expound upon it and go forward. That's again.
Just look at my record.
And he don't have the pressure of not losing anymore. You understand? He's relinquished that. Now he can just go fight.
Yep.
He got 2 L's, as a matter of fact, and he's good.
Yeah,
he's good, man. This is great, man.
Well, now he can go on and become a champion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who can? Because I tell everybody said I was never going to be a champ of the world. I laughed in their face. I said, look, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do.
There you go.
I said, that's where I'm from, the show me state. I ain't from the mouth. I'm from the show me state. So I'm going to go show you that I'm going to win the title. And I went out there and worked hard and did it. It's not about what somebody say. If you believe what somebody say, you know what's going to happen to you. Please, you don't get to dictate what I'm going to do. I get to dictate what I'm going to do. So I'm from the show me state. So you can say what you want, but I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. And I'm going to just wait and do it.
Salute, y'all, man. This was fun, man. And this is all I want to do is talk boxing, man. Boxing and life experiences. And today I learned something. I learned that Tim Witherspoon barely had 15 fights before he got a match with Larry freaking Holmes. Larry had almost triple the amount of fights before he got in there, man. That went right over my head. And that's all I want to do is share and learn. That's why I got the OGs on here. I don't know everything. I never claimed to know. What I do know is that I love the sport, and the sport don't love us back. Bruce Goes, let everyone know how they can find you, brother.
Hey, man, Drew, I'm a casual when I come on these shows, bro, because sometimes I can remember a lot of the shit that I saw, and and you start bringing up names, and man, it takes me back. But what's happening in boxing today, man? I watch your show every day. I watch all the brothers and Stormy, and though I can go on and I'll forget somebody, but this is where I keep my boxing knowledge going, man. I got a channel. Anybody wants to sub to me, listen to some old stories, man. Bruce Goes Boxing, Jazz, and more. I'm over here on YouTube. I just like getting immersed in it, bringing people together. That's what it's all about with me, man. I said to myself, man, I kind of accumulated as much as I want to accumulate, but I'm trying to make myself a better person, and I'm just trying to, I dig boxing, and it's just so nice that I can find like-minded people that I don't give a shit where you go or who you follow or who's your favorite boxer, man. This is boxing, bro. This is mano a mano. It comes right down to, it doesn't really matter who you ride with, man. It matters that we love the sport, we support the sport, and we're all together in one thing, man. It's just one love, man. It's boxing. I appreciate you having me on here, Drew, and Stormy, and Freddie, bro. Freddie, man, when I saw you knock out fucking Roger Mayweather on was it Tuesday Night Fights, brother? My God.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh my God, man. It's a pleasure to be on a panel with you, man. So thanks everybody, man.
Amen.
And God bless and peace out there, man.
No doubt,
Bless
Bruce,
y'all.
man. Stormy, let them know how they can find the sensei.
Everybody can find me right here on YouTube. Stormy B-Man's the channel. I put the link in the chat, and that's where you can find me.
diggity doubt, man. And Freddie Pendleton, the brother. Just let everyone know who you are, brother. And we're gonna take care of how they can find you, because me and Freddie, we working behind the scenes on some stuff. But you go ahead and let everyone know.
Oh, Fearless Freddie. I'm always gonna be here. You know, just rolling with the fellas. You know what I'm saying? I'm the IBF champion, WBU world champion, 2-time world champion, and I won a bunch of junior belts. So, you know, I'm one of the best out there. So, a lot of people know who I am and what I've done. So, I like crushing people. So, thank everybody for tuning in.
No doubt, man. You already know what it is. Bruce Goes. There's his link in the chat. The Stormy B-Man, the Sensei. Links in the chat. Salute to everybody. This is Boxing. Y'all know I'll be back tomorrow morning. I got a lot more to say. You already know this Fearless Freddie. I'm gonna be working with Freddie behind the scenes. 2022 is gonna be big. It's gonna be big on productivity and no bullshit. So you already know what it is. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Freddie, I'm gonna holler at you this week.
All right.
Gotta holler at you, brother.
Got you.
Peace, yo. And Bruce Goes. I'll see you in the chat tomorrow. Stormy, you too. I'll talk to you. You already know what it is. The fight party's on. Let's go hit up Trill. And I'll see y'all guys soon.
Move!